In today's show, I'm going to share with you one of the most important and powerful techniques that I use to help drivers turn things around. Hello, welcome, and I know that one of the biggest and most important reasons that you're here and people watch this is to improve something about themselves, to improve their results, to get ahead, to change something because they've been stale for too long. The question that inspired this video is related to that. It's from Monty, not the real name of the person who asked this, but here's the question. I've hit a plateau in my results. I need to change something. I just don't know what. I know this is broad, but what do you do with your drivers in this situation? A lot of the questions I get are broad, you know that, but I can still target because I know exactly what you mean and I know what to do in this situation because, well, I'm going to run you through a process. This is what I do with my clients and drivers, inside, outside of racing. When we start, the very first session we have together is what I'm going to explain today, and it helps them turn things around. And it can actually just be this one conversation that helps them do this, and I hope it does this for you. So to run you through the process, it's quite simple, but it's powerful. And it's using 5 steps, by the way, just to make it easy. The first thing is, what is your North Star goal? The big goal, the whopper, the thing that you don't actually tell people about because you're that scared, it's so big, but it's something you dream of. So we'll get them to write that down. Then the second thing is, what's the biggest goal for next year? If you could wave your magic wand, something that's kind of achievable, but geez, it's still a big push. What would that be in the next 12 months? So we're getting pretty much a long-term goal and more of a medium-term goal. What have I got to do in the next 12 months if I could possibly do it? And we write that down. The third thing we do is we get to know their current situation. So now we're creating the map, the route. We know what's at the end of the tunnel, the big one, the North Star. Then we know what's in 12 months' time, or the medium kind of goal that they've got in mind that they really want to achieve. And then we shine a light, a big blasting spotlight on their current situation. I get the driver or the person, whoever it is that wants to improve. I do this for me all the time. What's the current situation? How have you been performing over the last month or so? Write it out. Describe the situation and the environment and everything you're in right now so we can get a really good snapshot of where you're at. Then we move on to number 4. And number 4 is a simple question. What personal skills would a person need to pull off such crazy goals? So we're thinking, right, if I'm to go from where I am actually now in this situation, you painted the situation, you've written it down, you know exactly where you are, to achieve that goal in 12 months, and then to achieve that goal I've got for 10, 15 years, however long it is, the North Star, what kind of qualities, 4 or 5 qualities, would a person need to possess, skills, mental attributes, everything, in order to achieve this? And this is where we go a bit deeper. This is where my coaching or what we talk about starts to get into the nitty-gritty of self-awareness, but also what's it going to take? What does an individual need? So if it was like a race driver, right? Let's just give that example. They would have F1 world champion at the top as their huge North Star. Fine. In 10 years, I want to be there. I want to achieve that and be the best in the world. Then the more medium goal in 12 months, let's just say they're in F4 now and they say, I've got to win the championship and have the most wins. Okay, that's a really big goal, right? Fine. It makes sense. It's the process. It's the ladder to go to F1, win F4, dominate it. And then I would ask them about their current situation and they might say something like, I finished 15th this year in F4 and I have the money to join a better team. Right, so now we've got the path. We know the situation they're in, we know what they want, and we know what they really want long term. Now, we need to get clear on the attributes that somebody would need to go from Mr. P or Mrs. P15 in the championship to dominating it the year after. What are the skills? What would that person require? And I get the person to see it as not themselves really. This is the situation on paper. You're looking down at it. What would that driver on paper need? What would they be required to have? And we start to list them down, 4 or 5. They might say things like they need to be mentally strong and quickly overcome mistakes and have confidence. They might say something like they need to drive the current car with the perfect technique. or be consistently scoring and getting the best from themselves. Maybe they'll explain and say something that they need to have control of their emotions and focus. And lastly, they could say something like they need to work harder than anyone else. So then we're starting to look at, okay, these are really good attributes. The kind of person that is mentally strong, the one that's consistent, the one that really drives that car how it needs to be driven, and is in control of their emotions and works harder than anyone else. These are very important skills to have if you want to succeed in anything, of course. So we've got it all listed out. We know where they want to be. We know where they are. We know what the kind of person needs to be in order to get that. Now we start to delve deeper into self-awareness, and I ask that driver or that person to score themselves out of 10 in the areas that they just said. So these attributes, I want you to score yourself right now out of 10 in these areas, and it's how you've been performing in these areas in the last month. So your current levels, and be honest, because I'll know. And this is interesting because when someone does this, they're pretty much setting up their own performance plan, their own training plan, fitness plan for their mind. They're setting it up. They're saying, right, these things are what we need to achieve. These are the attributes that I need, I know I need, and the person needs to achieve them. Now I'm going to score myself to see where I'm at. So then we take all these attributes. Let's just give you an example now. They score themselves 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 1. Let's just say that, right? That's where they're at. So you can see that they don't work hard enough, nowhere near. 1 out of 10, they've actually said in the last month is pretty much what they're putting into it, and all the other figures. So then I get them to look at this and say, right, look at these scores right now. And again, it's not you. Detach yourself again now. Look at these scores. Tell me what chance this person's got of walking the line of your goals and succeeding and achieving them. And usually, head drops. They realize that they've got no chance. And to dig it even deeper, I say, okay, in 1 month's time, what will your life look like if you carry on with these scores? In 1 year, when you haven't achieved them goals, and now you're probably P11 in the championship, but you still got these scores, how are you going to feel? And I get them to live it, to actually experience what it'd be like to be failing again, wasting their parents' money. I'll make this as painful as I can, to build motivation, to say, look, this isn't me being harsh. This is actually happening. If you're scoring this now in your current world, and you know what you've got to be good at, but you're getting these scores, that's the kind of performance you're putting in, look what your destiny is going to look like. You're creating it. You're walking that painful line already. It's the truth. It's self-awareness at its best. So now, once you've got that shock, you're like, oh, you know what? I can't believe I do it. And believe me, I do this all the time. If I want the goals that I've got in business and with my coaching, with my mental training in business, I've got certain goals, of course. And I constantly do this sort of thing. Right, what is it I need to achieve this month, this week? If I was to do that, what kind of person am I going to be? And I also score myself. Every single week, I do this right now. I score myself on the areas that are most important to me. So it could be like marketing. It could be self-development. So I'm learning more. It could be how many people have I reached out to? How many people have I changed lives of this week? And I score myself. It's completely subjective, but it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me self-aware. And I'm like, right, I've got to change that. And I won't go more than a week without changing something. This is what I want for you. If you really want to turn things around, you need this kind of self-awareness of what is it I really want to achieve? Why do I want to achieve it is really powerful as well. What is it you want it for? Because that drives you. Understand, okay, what's step 1, which is pretty big step, still in 12 months. Okay, what's my current situation? How have I been over the last month? Then what are the attributes a person would need to do this? And then score yourself. And that is the kind of self-awareness you need to start a plan. And from there, obviously, you start to take action. Hold yourself accountable. Build an Excel sheet that shows these areas that you've got to do and give yourself a job list every single week so you're ticking them off on the days. Push yourself and then develop yourself. Right, what mental training can I do? What book can I read to improve myself whilst I'm doing this? Because I can see I've got all these chinks in my armor. For you to turn anything around, self-awareness first, realign yourself, get your mind working in a way that helps you get closer to them goals. This is what it's all about. And you develop the skills, you push yourself out there all the time. So for example, if you're thinking about getting sponsorship or you've got something to sell, you're going to have big goals that come down to a task list, a job list of like, approach one decision maker per day, a big one, a major one. Go to network events. Who is it I could get to help me? You start to brainstorm this stuff. Get a whiteboard on the wall and start to brainstorm all the things you can do to improve yourself and to get forward, to move forward. This is all on you, remember. You can have big goals, but I don't want you just to have big goals and just dream and look at them and not get any closer. Hold yourself accountable. Everything you want in your mind can be achieved in some way. You know, if you want to be an F1 driver, obviously I use that because that's the world I'm in as an example. Sometimes you think, I can't do it because I'm like 25 and I haven't even raced yet. I haven't got any money. Okay, it's probably not going to happen. But you could still work in F1. You could still be a race driver and go to Le Mans and all these things. But still, shooting for that goal still in your mind as a big goal. It raises your standards. It shows you who you've got to be today. And then you never know what will happen. So never say never. Always have that North Star. Bring it down. Be self-aware. Build a plan of attack to train yourself to be better. You watch things turn around.